Danity Kane singer testified that when Diddy did not get his way, quotes, people could go missing, close quotes. She also told the court that she personally saw Diddy drag, kick and punch his ex-girlfriend Cassie Ventura. Well, much of the evidence so far has been damning as prosecutors build their case that he was the kingpin in a criminal enterprise responsible for sex trafficking and racketeering. But despite that, some people believe the drastic nature of the charges could mean that Diddy will sensationally walk free. In a moment, I'll talk to Matthew Fletcher, the former lawyer of Suge Knight, and Ben Chew, who successfully represented Johnny Depp. But we begin with a man who finds himself at the centre of the Diddy scandal. Lawyer Tony Buzbee filed multiple lawsuits on behalf of alleged Diddy victims, but has recently been hit with an extortion suit by Jay-Z and accused of, quotes, targeting black men, close quotes. Well, he joins me now. Tony Buzbee, thank you very much for coming back to Uncensored. A lot has happened since you last appeared on this show. Let's start, first of all, with the fact that when we last spoke, you said you were representing 120 further alleged victims of Sean Diddy Combs in civil suits spanning 20 years with victims as young as 9, 14 and 15. Now, in March, you announced you were dropping 15 of these cases after Diddy's attorneys argued you weren't authorised to practice in the Southern District of New York. So just explain, before we go any further, explain what's happened there.
Yeah, typically when you're a licensed lawyer in New York and you're accepted in one of the federal districts, it's by reciprocity, you're accepted in the others. Well, they challenged that. And so they filed grievances against me and basically attacking my ability to practice in the Southern District of New York. And that is being sorted out. And while it's being sorted out, I withdrew from about 12 to 15 cases, but still represent those people. Those cases are still ongoing, still being represented by my firm and our local New York counsel. So I would call that a sideshow, much ado about nothing, and we're working through it.
You've had a lot of time, obviously, since we last spoke to really, I guess, go over all the individual stories of the 120, as it was then, alleged victims. Have you now narrowed down that number to cases that you believe are incontrovertible? Are they all, in your estimation, incontrovertible? What's the sort of credibility looking like with each of these cases now?
I'll tell you where we are now. We have 40 cases that are filed. We have 60 to 70 that will be filed in other jurisdictions. Remember, we were trying to make the limitations period that existed in the state of New York. So the rest of the cases that will be filed in other states, primarily in California. But the number's about still the same. Some people, because of these various sideshows and controversy, have dropped out, but still around 100 people who allege that Diddy assaulted them in some way. And, you know, as I've been receiving reports on this trial as it goes forward, one thing that has struck me is that the evidence and the factual circumstances are very consistent with what these plaintiffs have alleged. So we've been watching this criminal trial very closely, as you might imagine, and have watched this go forward, and it's striking to me, the allegations that are being made and some of the testimony that came out with Cassie and some of the testimony coming out today, very consistent with what these plaintiffs in the civil cases have been alleging.
And what is the sort of modus operandi consistent pattern that you're seeing?
What I'm seeing is there's obviously a lot of violence involved, a lot of threats involved. You know, some of these counts, specifically transportation to engage in prostitution, that keeps coming out over and over. But also the implicit and then actually explicit threats that are made towards individuals after this conduct ends. You won't say anything, you won't do anything about this. I mean, that has jumped out at me